you've been watching Newsfeed PM this week, you'll see that we've been speaking to the various women whose names have been put forward by the country's political parties to stand as mayoral candidates in the 2021 local government elections. Well, today is no different. I'm joined in studio by property professional Sarah Mabotsa. She's a resident of Centurion. She is the Good Party's mayoral candidate for the city of Tshwane, the country's capital. A very good afternoon to you, ma'am. Thank you so much for being with us. So, your campaign has now officially been launched. The Good Party is still relatively new. I'm wondering if the goal for Tshwane is an outright victory or more to cement yourselves as a political player in the city.
Okay. Good afternoon, and thanks very much for inviting me to this Newzroom Afrika. And I'll just say hello to everyone at home watching. My name is Sarah Mabotsa. I'm a current mayoral candidate for the city of Tshwane. Yes, as a Good Party, we, irrespective of the fact that we're still a young party, I would say young and developing party. But our goal and mission is to say that we don't want to introduce ourselves only. We are there because we do have a plan. We want to take over the city of Tshwane. So we're not going to go there because we're a small party, just go there and add the number. No. Our goal is to take over the city of Tshwane. That's why I'm the mayoral candidate of Tshwane. So we are ready, we've got plan, we've got everything in place so that we can be able to take over the city of Tshwane.
But can you do it in your very first election in Tshwane, though, given especially the fact that it is still the DA and ANC that have the largest chunk, at least based on previous elections, of support?
No, we're not worried much about that because we do have support. We are canvassing in and day out. So far, we realized that, Tshwane really wants, they are there for a change. They want a party like Good Party that will be able to give people a good service, that, will be able to be accountable to the city of Tshwane, that will be able to be very efficient. So wherever we go, people are saying, no, it's time for a change. We want Good Party to come in so that, service delivery can be done. Because for the past 27 years, we've been struggling with a service. But with Good Party, with its own plan, we can be able to do that. So people are ready for Good Party in the city of Tshwane.
You say people are ready, but having followed campaigning in South Africa and elsewhere in the world, it's one thing to meet people on the street when you campaign who say, yes, indeed, we're ready for the sort of change that you're promising. It's sometimes a very different ballgame to flip the street support to actual ballots in the box on voting day.
No, there will be a lot of support, as I've already mentioned, that we can see people. We've got membership cards. People are joining as Good Party's members. So it shows that definitely, people are willing to give us a chance. Because when we canvass out there, we tell them, here we are still a new developing party. But give us a chance, just 5 years, to prove it to you that, we can be able to achieve what we want. Look at the city of Tshwane. Look at the wasteful expenditure that is happening there. Look at the informal settlement. We're still having a lot of informal settlement in Tshwane, where you find that, people are still using pit toilets in 2021. So people, when we go to those people, they show us, they tell us our stories, and those are real stories, lifetime stories. That, we are just tired of these other parties. We want a Good Party to govern us, and we're willing to give them that chance. 5 years, then, we'll be able to show them what is Good Party all about. We are all about good service delivery. We'll make sure that, we eliminate corruption at its cost. What
makes your promise to deliver services and indeed, as you say, fight corruption different to the other parties? Because every candidate we've spoken to says, oh, we're going to tackle corruption, we're going to make sure that service delivery happens at a satisfactory pace. So why should they believe your promise to be different from the others?
No, we've already got a plan in place, right? What we did as Good Party, we say we've got 4 themes, right? We've already identified what we call spatial justice. In that spatial justice, we're talking about accommodating people in a better location. Because of apartheid, it made people, to work far from where they stay. They're spending a lot of money in terms of transport. So that's exactly the thing that we're going to do. We're going to give them the title deed, right? Because people we find that people are staying in the informal settlement for a very, very long time. more than 24 years. So what we're going to do, we're going to give them the title deed, right?
Can you get them out of there, though, in 5 years? Because everyone who comes in makes that promise.
No, it's very possible, because we do have a plan, right? What we say we've got the first step that we're going to do in terms of doing that. We're going to put processes in place, right, to ensure that there's good governance. Then in that way, it's going to stop wastage. Then the other one, what we're saying is that we are going to make sure that we review our IDP. Look at the IDP of the city of Tshwane. It's, it's completely not going to provide any service to the community of the city. So we're going to review that IDP. And what we're going to do, we are going to make sure, because when you look at each and every city, especially in the city of Tshwane, go to that site of Marabastad, you'll find that there are so many homeless people who are staying there, right? So what we're going to do as Good Party, we do have, the city of Tshwane does have an asset register, right? There are a lot of properties that are vacant, that, buildings that are empty. We are going to house those kind of people. Then what we do, after we house them, then we'll be able to provide them shelter. And we're also going to skill those people, because we don't want to just leave them there after they don't skill them. We skill them, then we put them back to the society. In other ways, we might find that, we're also going to provide them with jobs. For example, when we look at the issue of the asset register, because it's very key to my heart, because I'm a property specialist. Because only with that asset register, you can be able to have facilities management of your own buildings. We can have your own vacant stand in the very same city. And in that way, what we're going to do, we can be able to create jobs. We can be able, with the money that is being wasted, we can be able to develop infrastructure so that people can have, better water, sewage system, the drainage, the parks, and all those kind of things. So what we're saying, we're going to, the other thing we're going to do, we're going to review that IDP, then and make sure that we home the homeless. And the other thing, what is important, you mentioned that the issue of corruption. We are going to make sure that we come up with better systems and very strict monetary mechanism that will combat crime. In that way, I think we can be able to do that, because we can also be able to review what was happening before we come into the office. So I think in that way we can be able to make sure that we stop the rot in the city of Tshwane.
So we're soon running out of time, you and I. You are not a career politician. As you said, you have a property background. Politics, for better or worse, is largely dependent on names and personalities. Do you think that's going to work against you?
No, definitely not. I think, the name dropping that used to happen, I think for me, it's a paradigm shift. Because if you look at the Auditor General's findings, in many occasions, year after year, it talks about the same thing, where you find that people have been put in the office, don't have the relevant qualification. But my understanding and my knowledge to say, politics are there on the street, yes, you can also bring them in the office, but if you have the required skill and the knowledge, because if you look at, for example, myself, I've got the qualifications, I know management, and when we get, the only difference is that, you can look at PFMA and FMA. But if you were on the street only, you don't understand those things, you're going to end up failing. But if you can understand politics and administration, because I also studied political studies. It was one of my major subjects. So I know how to link politics and administration and management.
Okay.
Yes.
And quick final one then. Coalitions, a talk of the town. Tshwane has been, in large part, has been in turmoil precisely because of the inability among the parties to coexist in coalition. You're now, as the Good Party, coming in as one of the smaller players, shall we say. Am I right to assume that you're more likely in coalition talks to go the ANC route than with the DA, precisely because your leader, Patricia de Lille, is a minister in the ANC cabinet?
All right. The issue of Patricia de Lille being in the cabinet, that doesn't mean that she is for ANC, right? She is being there. The previous ministers, where you find that they're from a different political party, but they end up being ministers. So that doesn't constitute that automatically, if we do a coalition, it's going to be with the ANC. But our stance say as good. We're saying let's run this the election. Let's see what is going on, because at this moment it's still premature for us to talk about coalition.
Okay.
Yes.
Thank you so much, Sarah Mabotsa, I beg your pardon,
yes.
the Good Party's mayoral candidate for the capital, the city of Tshwane, a city in desperate need, some say, for political shake-up based on the events of the past 5 years.